Namaskaram, greetings. Welcome to the second episode in a series of conversations that I'm having with all of you uh, on mind management using certain practices from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. The first episode was recorded on 8th of September and it's available on my playlist. Those who have not watched it can go and watch it there. The link to the playlist is given in the description below. I had some people gave me some comments, some good feedback from the first episode. And one of the main important feedback that I got was that I had not made clear what were my objectives in these talks and what will be the takeaways, the key takeaways for the audience. I realize I hadn't done that. I'm sorry, I apologize. So I'll clarify it now very shortly before delving into the rest of the topic, today's topic. I have two objectives. One is to the Yoga Sutras as a whole are a set of 195 or 196 aphorisms designed to lead a person to moksha or salvation or liberation, and that is beyond the scope of these conversations. What I am trying to do is, I have read the sutras, not in detail, but at least to gain an understanding of what they say. And I have seen that some of these sutras that have as their objective the attainment of liberation can also be adapted in such a way and practiced to help us in our daily lives, to manage our lives better, to ease our stresses, tensions, fears, anxieties, and overall daily management of our lives in a mentally healthier way. So that is my objective, to adapt. I'm saying adapt because we cannot implement these practices as such, which are intended for some other purpose, but they can be adapted to manage our lives in a better way. The second, and to me the more important aspect, is to kindle a curiosity to enlighten the viewers, to guide them towards, to induce in them a desire to read the Yoga Sutras in their entirety, to delve deeper, because there are gems of wisdom in it. It's a treasure trove, and I'm barely scratching the surface. So please do and study the Yoga Sutras on your own. Lot of material is now available. The internet can now be your guru, and you can also ask questions in so many websites that are answered by experts. So please do try to look into the Yoga Sutras. And not only the Yoga Sutras, please also look at our various scriptures that are available from our ancient scriptures that were part of this Bharadakande, Bharadavarshe. They also have unimaginable amounts of wisdom in them, practical wisdom, not theoretical, and you will find them very useful in your daily lives. Now, having said that, I am Ramakrishnan. I am from Chennai, India. In this episode, I intend to address only one concept, and I'll be shortly telling you what it is. But before that, let me recap what we covered in the first episode very quickly. The Yoga Sutras consist of 4 chapters: the Samadhi Pada, the Sadhana Pada, the Vibhuti Pada, and the Kaivalya Pada. I am now taking the first 4 or 5 aphorisms from the Samadhi Pada sequentially, but that won't happen later. But these are required to give a basic foundation to what will come earlier, because without this, we cannot understand the practices and apply them. So bear with me for the next 2-3 episodes where it could be slightly theoretical, and I'll be defining a few things. A quick recap. In the first episode, I addressed the first sutra, which was Ataha Yoga Anushasanam, which is now the teaching or the revised teaching of yoga. I have explained in the first episode clearly what is meant by now, and also this yoga anushasanam, but I'll just repeat it now. Is it revised? Is it written by Patanjali? Did he compile it from other sources? When was it done? How was it done? All these I leave to people who would like to debate on this, and scholars who want to be very
I didn't
clear.
understand that.
I'm sorry, who wish to be very clear on these terms. For us, the content is more important, and I'll stick to the content rather than getting into debates and controversies. That is the first point that I wanted to make. So that covers Hatha Yoga Anushasana. The second aphorism is Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga consists of Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. Now we need to understand these three terms because they are the core of the Yoga Sutras, and whether for liberation or for applying what I am going to look into or have in these conversations, the practices that I think will be useful to us, require that these three terms be defined. So Yogas Chitta Vritti Nivaranam Nirodha means the restraint of the modification of the chitta. Chitta I will define later. Vritti is modification. Nirodha is restraint. We need to understand this chitta because that is where all our thought processing, all our emotions, all our feelings, all the information that we receive is all processed in chitta. So this is a term that has to be understood very clearly if we are to address our anxieties, fears, worries, stresses, and apply the practices that are available to restrain these and to control them, at least if not eliminate, at least to alleviate them. So let me right away delve into this chitta. What is chitta? This is a very difficult term to define because various commentators, various schools of philosophy, gurus have defined it in slightly different manners, giving it different connotations. And Patanjali himself in the Sutras does not give a definition of the term chitta anywhere. So we are forced to look into other scriptures, other commentaries, and listen to other talks from other gurus, scholars, commentators to understand what chitta means. I had said in my earlier episode that sometimes I might have to resort to ultimately giving my own interpretation of certain terms. And I think probably chitta, having read all the definitions and with my understanding of what Patanjali is trying to convey by this term, I am using definitions from other sources, but adding a little twist to it. My definition of chitta, as used in the Yoga Sutras, is chitta is the total consciousness, the sum total of consciousness, the mind stuff, as it is sometimes described, is what Patanjali means by chitta. But for our purposes, to apply these practices that I am talking about, we need to expand this further. Otherwise, we will not be able to apply these practices directly without knowing what are the components of chitta. Chitta, we know, again, I have to resort to other scriptures and other material, to Sankhya, to Vedanta, to Advaita, to glean some understanding and then use my own thinking to interpret this. Chitta is the sum the total mind stuff, the entire consciousness. Fine, that is fine. Now, the components of chitta, let's address them one by one. The first that I would like to address is manas. Manas, sometimes called the lower intellect. I don't like these terms, but that's what some people call it. But let us not apply that term. Manas is responsible for acquiring sensations from the external world, and then upon certain processes taking place, putting the organs of action into action. This is the function of manas. The five senses, as you know, are sight, smell, taste, hearing, and touch. Manas is the part of the chitta that is responsible for taking in all the senses, all the sensory perceptions coming in, and these five senses cover every kind of sensory activity in the world. So manas takes all this inside. Manas is not capable of analysis. It is simply a perceiving organ and can apply some basic filters, but it is not capable of doing detailed analysis of the inputs that it gets. It is being flooded, literally flooded with volumes and volumes of sensory perceptions all the time, and it does not have the capacity to do an analysis. What manas does is applies some basic filters, saying, oh, here is a taste, here is the smell, here's the sound, and it passes it on. I will come to what it passes it on to later. There is an intermediary, and I will address now. Again, it's called chitta, but now it is used in the context of memory. This chitta is a storehouse of data, storehouse of information, storehouse of our feelings, our impressions, our experiences. I will now, again, I don't want to go into discussions about karma and rebirth and past deeds. Those are all matters of debate and huge controversies, so I will not go into those. But we can be certain that the chitta contains all these impressions, knowledge, information, memory, experiences from the moment we are born. The chitta has all this. This storehouse has all this information. So now we have on one side the manas, which has all these sensory inputs coming in, which it is passing on. We have this database of previous impressions, memories, etc. in a storehouse. Now we need a mediating agency. The manas cannot take any decisions, it cannot do any analysis, and we need these impressions, these sensory impressions that come in, to be stored in the chitta as database for future reference. So this mediator is called buddhi, the intellect, and the so-called higher mind. What does buddhi do as a mediator between manas and chitta, the storehouse? I'll use storehouse from now on to differentiate from the mind stuff chitta as used by Patanjali. To mediate between the sensory perceiving ability and the storehouse, the buddhi takes in these sense impressions and analyzes them. Is it taste? Is it smell? Then it refers to the storehouse to see if there is any memory of this sense that it has received, whether it has been stored there. It checks if it is there. It checks it, and if there's a match, it comes back to buddhi. And now let us stop here again. This much of the process. Manas has brought in certain senses that it has perceived to buddhi. Buddhi has referred back to the chitta and brought back a match, and it is there. Let us now look at the fourth component of chitta, which is the ahamkara, the I feeling. I want this. I am doing this. I am the knower. I am the doer. This is the ahamkara, the I giver. In very short, it's I giver and everything is I about it. This ahamkara also has access to the storehouse of chitta. It has access to that database. So buddhi has access, ahamkara has access. The problem is, again, ahamkara is I. It does not apply any analysis, further processes on the feedback that it is getting from the storehouse. So now let me start with a sensory perception of the smell of jalebi. The sense has come in and it has gone to the buddhi. The buddhi has fetched the impression of jalebi that is stored in the storehouse, and the information that it gets back is jalebi is very nice to eat, it is very sweet, it is very tasty. This information has come to buddhi. Ahamkara can also get the same information. How these two react to this information? Buddhi does not immediately tell the manas to get the organs of action going based on this information alone, saying it was a pleasurable sensation, sweet, so go ahead and get me some jalebi from Swiggy or Zomato. No, it doesn't do that. It's waiting there because, but ahamkara, when the I dominates, the I is always, the I and the manas are seeking always pleasure, new sensations, new things. So the ahamkara says, wow, sweet, I want it, and it directs the manas. So ahamkara can also direct the manas. Buddhi can also direct the manas. What does buddhi do? Buddhi says, wait a minute, there's something else about sweet that is stored in the storehouse, in the database. It goes and looks at it and says, hey, the doctor has said don't eat any sweets. We went to for a consultation. I'm not supposed to eat sweets. I'm a diabetic. So it fetches back that memory also. And then it compares these two. And based on that, and that is where we say it's wisdom, it doesn't pass on any action to be taken by the manas. I hope this is clear. This is very important to understand, that this is the interaction between these, that is buddhi, the manas, the buddhi, the ahamkara, and the chitta. Now, I hope this is clear to all of you, because this is very, very important to understand. Only based upon a good understanding of this, I can proceed to the next topics, that is vritti and then nirodha. So I want to stress upon this. Please understand what is chitta, what is sensory perception, what is the faculty of wisdom, what is ahamkara, what is the storehouse. These have to be clearly embedded in your minds to understand what comes further, especially the vrittis. So I think I will stop at this for today, because I realized the last time I really overshot and I need to give you time for this to sink in. So I'll just recap. We have the chitta. Chitta is the complete consciousness. Patanjali has not defined chitta anywhere. We have to refer to other scriptures and then our own understanding of what chitta is. And so our understanding, as understood by me, is that chitta consists of manas, which is the sensory perception part, and also manas is the one that initiates the organs of action on being directed by the buddhi or the ahamkara, and Chitta is the storehouse of all our impressions, memories, experiences from childhood, from the time we were born. I hope this is clear. And ahamkara also directs manas into action. If you look at it, we have these sensory perceptions which can initiate, where action can be initiated by the buddhi, depending on the decision-making process. Ahamkara, apart from sensory perceptions, we do have certain other things which initiate action by themselves. It is not necessary that a perception should initiate action. I am just sitting here right now and I'm suddenly saying, wow, I've not had any sense perception. I'm saying, I would like to eat an ice cream now. Where has this come from? It has come from the ahankara, just like that, without any perception, without being prodded into it, nothing. And the ahankara. So if you look at it, many of the instinctive things that we do are directed by the ahankara. And so ahankara need not necessarily be doing things that we say, within quotes, bad. Ahamkara can do good things like, I want a good career, I want to educate myself, such things. I want to help others, I want to be merciful. These are all I want to do it, but these are good and it can direct manas. I think again overshot, it's at 20 minutes, I'm sorry, but I hope I have made myself a little bit clear. In case you need any further clarity, please don't hesitate to leave it in the comments and I'll respond to them. And also please give frank comments and feedback on how I can improve myself. And please, if you do dislike, I welcome dislikes and ask you to give the reason for the dislike, which will improve me. Thank you very much for watching. Namaste, namaskaram, greetings.